know if you've noticed, but I'm over 21, a few times over. But I really have a passion for the millennials, the younger generation. And I really sometimes get bothered when I hear about the country's greatest generation, which are people kind of my age and older. And we know that comes from having won World War II. And what a great accomplishment. I mean, it was a time of great national purpose, great national unity, patriotism everywhere. Everybody was into the fight. People were volunteering to go forward. And it was absolutely one of the most noble enterprises in American history, maybe in world history. Because what we did is we took an ominous, ominous threat to the world, a powerful threat to the world, a threat that by all measure could have been victorious, an evil threat. And we not only defeated it, but we did something absolutely remarkable because of American exceptionalism. We didn't conquer all of Europe as the Russians did. We didn't occupy it. After that World War II, we created freedom in Germany, France, Belgium, Italy, Spain, all across Europe. Contrast, of course, to the Soviets, who occupied Eastern Europe and kept it as part of their Soviet Union. And that was a great accomplishment. But, you know, I get sort of bothered because, to put it bluntly, what have they done lately? You know, I saw something on television the other day. They said the world we have today in America is a credit to the older generation, the world's greatest generation, America's greatest generation. And I thought, whoa, I don't know if I want to have that hung on me. What is the world we have today? The world's greatest generation came out of the war, and they became the greediest generation. They consume more financial resources, more economic resources than any generation in the history of the world. And so what is the great achievement? Well, they couldn't afford it. That's the thing that bothered me. So a lot of people in the 1950s and everything were enjoying the luxury of peace and freedom. Peace and prosperity, it was called. Peace and prosperity. And people were winding up with homes, 2 cars, summer homes, boats, health insurance, many of the benefits, but they couldn't quite afford it. So what they did is they borrowed the money. And first, it was kind of a trickle. You know, we borrow a little money here, and everybody's excited because, oh, well, we're going to have these benefits from our government. And over time, along comes Lyndon Johnson, and then we have the butter and guns policy, where we can pay for both the war and social welfare programs. And we get the Medicare, Medicaid, and we get all that. And that sounds really good. I mean, that's a real benefit. But we couldn't afford it. So what do? We borrowed money. And we borrowed money. And we borrowed money. You know, when mom and dad pass on, they leave an estate. And if they have more debt in the estate than they have assets, the estate kind of gets liquidated. But you, as the offspring, as children, you don't get stuck with paying all the bills that weren't covered by the estate. It's just sort of wiped out. And that's a good thing. But what we've done as a country is we said, oh, no, we're not going to wipe out the debt. We're going to stick it to you. We're going to stick it to the children, the grandchildren, and the great-grandchildren, who have spent a lot of their money paying taxes to pay off for the things that we wanted to comfort us and make us feel good for so many years. And so what's it going to be like for them? They're going to be taxed without representation. Remember what the founder said. Taxation without representation is tyranny. Tyranny. And yet we will tax generations who aren't even born yet. Now that's not representation by any means. So have we left us a better world? Have we left it a safer world? Have we left our world more free of wars? We have been in constant war almost since World War II. And you know what? We haven't been winning them. Korea, it ended in an armistice. Maybe most people don't know it. That war is still on. It was a ceasefire, that's all. We signed a ceasefire and we got out of there. Vietnam, we got beaten. The North came down, they took over the whole country. We got beaten. We didn't do so well in the Middle East either. We're now in the longest war in American history. Imagine that. The longest war in American history, and we're almost immune to it. But that's what we've given our children. That's where we put a lot of our resources. So I look at it and I say to the kids, you know, love your grandma, love your grandpa, but you've got to know they screwed you. So there it is.